Gas code quiz number 2. Gas pipe is sized by length without regard to BTU input. Well, fairly obviously that's false because you have to have the number of BTUs going through it to determine what size of pipe you're going to install. It's kind of a silly one, but anyway, it's false. A piping plan or sketch is required installing more than 3 appliances. This is, as far as I can tell, this is a local code. I can't find it in the IFGC, but it is on our local test. If there are more than 3 appliances in one structure that have gas to it, there should be a sketch. Okay, number 3. When gas piping is sized properly, the pressure drop should not exceed 0.6 of an inch water column. That's false. In my area, it is 0.5, and I don't know of any areas that are any different. 0.5 inches water column pressure drop. That's what the charts are set up for. If you look, there's 0.3 of an inch water column drop, and there's 0.5 of an inch water column drop. All of mine use the 0.5 of an inch. Number 4, existing gas pipe shall be air tested if it has not been used more than 12 months. That again is not an IFGC code that I've seen. It is a local code that if the piping was abandoned for more than 12 months, they want a pressure test on it. Number 5, a gas meter should not be located than closer to 3 feet from a source of ignition. That is actually true, and this is more for the utilities. I mean, you have to conform with it, but the utilities do not want it any closer than 3 feet because there is a little bit of gas that is bled out of the regulator. Okay, number 6. A gas meter should be located not closer than 8 feet from a fresh air intake. That's false. It's supposed to be 10 feet. Most of that is that gas, the odorizer that's put in gas is pretty obvious. And even a small leak from the regulator, which would be normal, could be smelled inside the structure, and someone may believe there is a gas leak inside the structure. So that's why that is false. 8 feet is not correct. It should be 10. Okay. 7. Galvanized or copper gas piping may be installed without any identification. That's false. We don't generally use galvanized for gas piping, although you can use it. Some people say the galvanizing comes off, but it doesn't really. That is not the reason. It looks too much like a water pipe, which also kind of includes copper. I don't know if anybody's using copper anymore. It's legal to use, but it has to be identified as a gas line, just like galvanized does. So that's false. 8. When we're using underground plastic piping, it shall have a number 4 AWG minimum size yellow tracer wire attached to its entire length. Well, all that's correct except for the number 4. It's actually number 18, according to the IFGC. Locally, they use a number 14. But number 18 is what the IFGC says you can use. 9. Pipe joint compound shall be applied sparingly and to the male threads only. That is correct. The idea, if you put it on the female side, it's going to push pipe dope into whatever you're hooking this pipe to. If you're hooking it up to a gas valve, there's a lot of sensitive parts in there. You get pipe dope in there, the gas valve is going to fail. So only to the male threads, because that tends to keep it away from the inside of the pipe. A use of old gas pipe is permitted if found to be in good shape and only has a few holes in it. Well, that's pretty obviously false. You can use old gas pipe, you can use old fittings, but they have to, quote, be in new condition, whatever that means. 11. Natural gas delivery pressure at the meter is 7-inch water column. That's true. We're speaking about residential and small commercial. There are 2-pound and 5-pound meters out there. but for residential, you'll see 7 inches water column. 12. A minimum 3-inch sediment trap is required as close to the inlet side of the appliance as practicable. Okay, I mark that as true. According to the IFGC, it really doesn't, there is no length. They don't tell you what length it has to be. However, our local code and all the codes I've seen want a 3-inch sediment trap. So I call that true. 13. Pressure test and gas line coming into the structure should be 3 psi G, held for 10 minutes on a 15-pound gauge having 1-pound increments. Okay, this is the IFGC code. It's kind of complex, but depending on how much inside pipe diameter you have, you may have to go longer. But for most of the residential type tests, you're going to be underneath the inside volume. So the 3 psi G for 10 minutes on a 15-pound gauge is okay. 14, installation instructions shall be left at the appliance. That one's also a local code, but I will call that true because that is what our inspection service in our area tells us we must do. 15, you may pressure test gas piping systems 10 pounds, 30-pound gauge for 15 minutes. Yes, that's a higher pressure than we had in 13 here. And so, yes, you can do it. This is the way we used to do it, and we mostly still do. Okay, 16, this is a little bit of a goofy one, but welded gas piping must be tested at a different pressure than threaded pipe systems. The welded systems that I've seen had to be at 60 pounds, but I'm not sure if that's changed, and the IFGC doesn't say anything about it. But you would have to test it at a higher pressure. 17. Maximum distance between pipe hangers for half-inch gas pipe is 6 feet. That's true. It's in the IFGC. Larger diameter pipe will be farther, but half-inch is going to be 6 feet. 18. Propane is delivered to the appliance at 11 inches water column. That is true. Where we had natural gas meters were 7 inches water column, propane is 11 inches. Okay, that's it on that one.